gang, this is really cool. It's a great story about giving back to your community. A Moncton-based smartphone game creator. Whew, those are lots of words. They're hoping to raise about $400,000 for the homeless in the greater Moncton community. So here to talk to us about all of that is the CTO of Rikkir Incorporate. Thank you so much for coming in, Richard Wilson, and Darcy Cormier, who is the Community Development Coordinator for, let me make sure I get this right, the Greater Moncton Homeless Steering Committee.
Yeah.
Yeah! I want someone to just run in here and give me a high five every time I get these long titles right.
Best tongue twister for
There you go. There you go. Thanks so much for coming in, guys.
You're very welcome.
So give us a little sense of what Rikkir is, because I think this is kind of cool.
Yeah, well, we're a mobile software company that has been building some games. It started about 2 years ago when we had a few good ideas. I had hired a gentleman from Colombia, actually, to help me with some coding on a game that I wanted to build for fun. And we got along so well that we decided to form a company, and we started building a couple games, and one of our prototypes took off, and we're like, all right, you know, we got this. I think we can do something. So we decided to build a few more, and we built Alpha Quest, which was a really well-loved game. The numbers told us that people love playing it, and so from there we said, all right, well, we're going to keep going. Yeah, we got a publisher for that game, and things worked out really well. So, and we're in negotiations right now with another company to take over the rights for the game and to do some revenue sharing. So that's also in the works. And from that point, we made Tappy Toes and Crossy Spikes.
Right.
And that's where we went from there, and we ended up.
Before we get into those games, sure. I just generally want to talk about how cool it is that I don't know if most Monctonians would know that there's something cool like you know a smartphone game app being created right here in the city.
Well, it's true. There are a few companies around. You know, a lot of people know Goji Games, but I stood on the radar for the last 5-6 years. So I just you know, at home working away, plugging at it, learning how to program in a certain way because I was used to programming for other companies when I was on contracts and building databases and software for them, but you know, trying to learn something outside of my realm and my you know, intelligence level, I was just like, all right, I'm just going to educate myself as best I can, and then all of a sudden I was like, all right, you know what, I'm going to go public with this. I think we got something good, and that's when we stepped out, and everybody was kind of shocked that we were there. We were like, you know, the new kids on the block, and
who are these people?
Yeah, wow, what are these games? Like, who? So it was really nice to show people that there is some, you know, even some more local talent that's
absolutely. I think it's impressive that you're doing that on your spare time as well as having another job as my Usually with my spare time, I just stay home and you know, catch up on Game of Thrones or something. that's pretty much pretty much my week. Well, that's very cool. And you were talking earlier, I don't know if we're, I don't want to jump ahead or anything, but you're also working on some really cool new stuff coming ahead. Emotional intelligence.
Yeah, that's right. We have a consultant on board, somebody local here, and we have a team that actually built a game on Xbox One, and they just finished wrapping that up. So I have 3 or 4 other contacts that are doing the graphics, the sound, and we're doing level design, and I'm going to start building the game probably this week or next. And we're going to try to build a 1 level so we can approach some funders, and it's, as you mentioned, it is emotional intelligence game that's going to have more of a psychological aspect, and we're going to try to you know, produce the game where you can just play the game straight out, or you can actually use a piece of hardware that will even monitor the functions within the game. So it'll tell you how you're improving your day and how, you know, how the game is actually affecting you emotionally, which is pretty cool.
That is really neat. It does seem kind of cutting edge to take it to that next level.
It is. Yeah, we're using you know, some new software and some new you know, new, I guess, level design, and also the background of it and the details that are in the game. We want to do something that is cutting edge with some cutting edge graphics, but also have something meaningful and educational that will be extremely fun. That's the whole point of it, right? You know, you just don't want to make something boring that's not going to go anywhere. I want to have the twofold system, fun and education in one. It's not a lot of people can pull it off well, but I think that we've proven ourselves now on the block there with you know, 6 games out and 3 that actually became well, 1 is a finalist last year at the Canadian Video Game Awards, and now this year we have 2 games that are on the table. So.
Well, that's great. And let's talk about these games now. And if we keep keeping with the theme of emotional, I mean, it's very interesting to see that you essentially are trying to, your 2 apps, Crossy Spikes and
Tappy Toes.
Tappy Toes, right? these apps are going to be able to raise funds to try to fight homelessness here in Moncton. So how did that all come about?
Absolutely. Well, I started working at the John Howard Society, and Joanne Murray, the executive director there, had opened my eyes with different departments that work there, and it happened to be that Darcy here, the person who I'm working with on this campaign, is the coordinator for the Homeless Steering Committee. So at that point, she was telling me some numbers and facts about this, and I'd volunteered at Youth Quest Central many years ago, and I've seen it firsthand. So working in my job there, I got hired on as the employment coordinator. So I work with youth with barriers. So they're pretty much one step off being on the street if they don't have the right skill set, life skills and employability skills that they need. So that direct impact for me was just like, this makes perfect sense. This is a great tie-in. I see it, and I made an analogy yesterday about when you buy a new car and you're driving around, you think you're the only one that owns it. All of a sudden you see the same car in the same color, and there's literally thousands of them in town. So it's like that with the homeless, and I don't want to diminish that, but it's that exact fact. It opened my eyes when I go downtown now and I see different people. I'm like, oh my God, that's what's going on here.
It's bigger than you might imagine.
Yeah,
right?
the veil has been removed, and now I see it. And it's at that point now where, I'm making it a mission to take it that next step and be the a private sector that says, okay, we're doing okay. Let's step up and let's move forward here, and we'll give something back to the community.
That's fantastic. And Darcy, for your part, give us a little bit of an idea of what the steering committee does.
Yeah, so it's really a group of frontline organizations working in housing and homelessness, and with groups experiencing poverty, as well as some representatives from government. And really, they came together in 2000 as Moncton is one of 61 designated communities across the country that receives federal homelessness funding. Right now, the program's called the Homelessness Partnership Strategy. So this committee really was brought together to do community planning, consult with community, look at data, and establish priorities for spending that money. So we've been doing that since 2000, as I said, and also some education and awareness raising. And really now trying to really shift focus toward how do we structure things, how do we bring partners to the table that can actually bring an end to chronic and episodic homelessness. There's cities like Medicine Hat, Alberta, who's gotten lots of press, who say that they've done that, they've accomplished it, and they're a city of 70,000. So it's comparable to Moncton, and we know that it's doable.
It's doable. You can kind of see the goal there, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had several nonprofit groups that tackle things like homelessness that have been on this show, but it must be fantastic to see something like a private sector company coming in and saying, you know what, we're going to do right by our community, and we're going to try to raise these funds for what you guys are doing.
Yeah, well, I think it's really interesting. I mean, you see different campaigns that that raise money and donate it to an organization that addresses homelessness. But for Richard to recognize the expertise that we've developed, and that we have this mechanism of determining funding priorities with the federal housing money, for him to actually entrust his fund to us for that purpose and to contribute to our priorities. So it's just adding that much money to the pot that we can address that many more issues that we're seeing or needed to be addressed is really important. And that's really the goal, right? To help streamline things, to bring everything together, and to make that much more of an impact.
Oh, absolutely. And for your part, these games, they're available on your pretty much basic smartphone, Apple, Samsung, all that stuff?
Yeah.
Not the Samsung that catches fire, though?
No.
Not the Note 7.
We took it back. We took it back. Yes, we retracted it. But it's on Google Play Store and the App Store. We're putting Crossy Spikes out. We're supposed to have it yesterday out on Android, but we're just running into a few little hurdles, so we'll try to get that in before the weekend. But yeah, they're free to download, and yeah, absolutely. So the more that you download and play it and share it with your friends, that's where the revenue is going to be generated.
That's the question. So how does this money how do the funds actually get made, essentially?
Yeah, the revenue streams are we have two systems in there, and one is going to be that the advertisements that we have in the game, like every other free-to-play game, are involved, and they're non-intrusive. So they're not in your way a whole lot, but sometimes if you just want to get rid of them, that's the component where you pay for it. So $1.99, you can remove those ads, and you won't have to worry about that again. And again, that money will be donated to the fund that will go to the steering committee and to the homelessness, essentially. So
I'm told 30 seconds left.
Okay.
So thank you so much for coming in, guys. I think it's a really great idea.
It's our pleasure.
Good work that you guys are doing in the community, and fantastic that you're giving back. I think that's fantastic.